Hello everyone, welcome to Prime Number. Today, I'd like to talk about how Bitcoin works in high level. Using a use case, Alice wants to send coins to Bob, and Bob wants to send some coins to Charlie. Let's take a look. Here we have a bunch of nodes represent the Bitcoin network. In reality, the Bitcoin network could be fairly large, from tens of thousands of nodes to millions of nodes. This is just to show how it works. Each individual node is not connecting to everybody. It only connects to several we call neighbors. For example, we have here node number 1 connect to node number 2 and 3, 2 connect to 4 and 5, 3 connect to 5 and 6, 4 connect to 6. And now we have someone called Alice again. She has a mobile phone with a wallet app installed in it. She want to send Bitcoin to Bob, so she can just send the transaction to any of the nodes in the Bitcoin network. The transaction has to be signed by her private key in her cell phone. Let's say she sent the transaction to node number 1, and each node received the transaction while using we call the gossip protocol, or flooding the transaction to the whole Bitcoin network. It doing from sending the transaction to its neighbors. Node 1 will send the transaction to node 2, as well as node 3. Node 2 will relay to node 4 and 5, and 4 will relay to node 6. To prevent the endless loop, the node will not relay if it already seen this transaction. So remember, each transaction has a hash value. You can just compare the hash value whether it's already in the pool or not. So by doing that, all the Bitcoin network will have the same transaction, but it doesn't mean the transaction is in the blockchain. It just received the transaction. And let's make it more complicated. Someone, Bob, is using his computer to send money to send coins to Charlie. And he's doing this by sending to another node, node 5. So node 5 will have this transaction, and it will relay to node 2 and node 3, and node 2 will relay to node 1 and node 4, and node 3 will relate to node 6. Not all the nodes has to have the same outstanding transactions. It could be not synced at all. For example, node 1 may have some other transactions. C send coins to D. Node number 4 may have transaction D send coins to E. But it doesn't matter. It's just all the transaction all the node received from all the different geography places. And at the same time, all the node is producing blocks by picking up the transaction it wants to put into a block. The block has a limit on the block size, so it has to be only several transactions can be put into a single block. Let's say node 1 want to put those 2 transactions into the block, and node 4 want to put those 2 transactions in the block. And to produce the block, Bitcoin has a mechanism called proof of work. You have to guess a nonce that having that nonce in the block, you can calculate a hash value of this block by having a certain number of leading zeros. The number of zeros is adjustable based on how complicated, how difficult we want to have. So let's say at this time, node number 1 successfully guessed the nouns and produced a block. Once it produced a block, it using the same protocol, the Gossip protocol, to broadcasting, yay, I'm successfully produced a block. Please relay this block and append to your blockchain. So he will append that block to his own block in his node and broadcasting to node number 2 and 3. The node number 2 will do the same thing. It will validate the block, validate the transaction, validate the nouns, whether the hash value is the same as the hash value it declared. So if everything validates successfully, the node will append the block into a blockchain. So by doing that, all the node will have the same block append to the blockchain. So this is called the consensus. The consensus means even though each individual node may have different transaction in the pool and may come up with its own blocks, but we have to agree on what blocks we want to append to the blockchain. There are chances two nodes may come up with the both are valid block at almost the same time, but Bitcoin always recognized the longest one. So there could be a soft fork, but that could be resolved by the following blocks append to the previous one to make sure each node only respect the longest blockchain. We've covered several concepts for Bitcoin, such as block, transaction, consensus algorithm, and P2P network, but in a fairly high level. I will dive into each individual topics in the following videos. Thanks for watching. Comments below what you want to see in my channel, and subscribe if you like it. Thank you.